Hey everybody, so I just wanted to give some clarification here for the Antarctic food web activity that we have here. So we've talked a little bit about energy flow through organisms and how it's organized into a food web. So we're going to be looking at one through an application. This should be able to run on your phone as well as on the computer, so don't worry about that part. So it says to go to the Antarctic food game website here. So when you click that link, it should take you to this page, which again has three little sublinks within it for the different parts of this. If you need a review of how food webs work, click on the Food Chains and Webs button, and you can also click the trophic table to see which organisms eat one another in the Antarctic marine food web. So those two links are here. So here's Food Chains and Webs. Again, this kind of gives you general info about that piece with some examples here, if you need a refresher. And then the trophic table here talks very specifically about the organisms that you're going to be using in this activity. So algae, bacteria, birds, blue whales, fish, killer whales, krill, and seals. It helps show what types of prey they go after and what types of predators will go after them. So again, that's important for constructing this food web. So when you feel ready, click the Food Web Game button. So when you click that one up here, that'll take you to this little blank food web. So what you have are the different boxes here, and so you can drag each of your pieces over, and it'll let you test your answers. So here I'm just getting some random ones together. Okay, so you can all drag them into certain spaces there. So in the game, try to match each picture with an organism with its place in the food web. Remember that arrows point in the direction the energy is traveling. So arrows start with an organism being eaten and point to the organism that is consuming it. So if I was looking at my thing here, I'd say, okay, this says that seals are being eaten by algae. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but we can try the reverse, right? We can move the seal here and say that it's eating the algae. Still might not make the most sense, but we don't think algae is going to be eating anything, but it might be eaten by a lot of other things. So again, arrows traveling away from an organism mean that it's being eaten. Arrows traveling to an organism, like our killer whale up here, mean that it is eating a lot of the other things that are going to it. So when you're done putting organisms in the chart, click any red boxes to see what needs to change with them. Then click Try Again to place those organisms again. So here, if I click Check Answers, this will show me. So I've got a few red boxes here. So for example, let's say that I look at my seal here. Here it says seals are carnivorous. So would they eat primary producers? So this is telling me that seals probably don't eat algae. They might be further up in the food web. So again, I can click Try Again, and when I do, it takes all of my incorrect answers and puts them over here, so I can try to rearrange what is correct until I get it right. I can keep trying it several different times. All of your organisms are placed correctly when the boxes are green, and the white box at the top says congratulations. So then after you've gotten them placed correctly, go ahead and keep your window open when you do have them placed correctly, and then answer the following questions. Here it says the sun is shown as part of the diagram of this food web. Which organism in the food web relies on the sun for energy? Hint, it is the only producer, so it only has arrows pointing away from it. Number 2, which organism would you consider the top predator in this food web? Which one do you think is the predator that doesn't really have other organisms eating it for the most part? How do arrows show that it is the top predator? Think about the direction of the arrows and how that indicates that. 4, which organism went into the H space on the far left? So again, that's going to be what goes way over here when we look at the diagram. So there's kind of a bracket here that shows that all of these organisms will eventually be consumed by this organism. So why does energy from everything else in the food web eventually go to that organism in the H space? So once you have the answer for that, think about why it would be illustrated in that way. So again, I hope that the explanation for this assignment makes sense. This program should be able to work regardless of what you're using to try and complete it, from what I can tell. But if you do have any questions, or if you do have any trouble with completing it, please feel free to call me, email me, or you can show up for the science department office hours every Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.